This documentary about overcoming life's darkest moments isn't on Netflix, and that's exactly why you need to watch it. Look, I've been through my share of tough times, and I'm tired of watching feel-good fluff that barely scratches the surface. My Silver Lining documentary on LRodVNetwork.com is different. It's raw, real, and completely transformative. This isn't some glossy production designed to make you feel better for 30 minutes. It digs deep into what it actually takes to turn your pain into purpose. The storytelling is so powerful that mainstream platforms wouldn't touch it. But that's their loss and your gain. You get exclusive access to stories that will genuinely shift your perspective on adversity. I watched it 3 times because each viewing revealed something new about resilience. The convenience of streaming it on LRodVNetwork.com means you can pause, rewind, and really absorb these life-changing insights. Don't settle for surface-level inspiration when you can access something that actually moves the needle. Head to LRodVNetwork.com right now and discover the documentary everyone's missing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Thirsty Topics. I'm Lawrence Elrod.
And I'm Meryl Climo.
Hey, Meryl, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I cannot complain.
Right now, I will complain, but not to you. You're perfect. Well, you want me to start it off? I have a funny one to start us off with. Okay. Now, are you a consumer of the McDonald's McRib? Because I think this will handle how I get into this conversation today.
I used to, but the wife is making sure I stick to eating healthy, so I don't eat it like I used to, but I do like it though.
But the McRib, if you were going to eat McDonald's, that would be like a choice that would be one of your go-tos?
Would be. I wouldn't eat it all the time. But yeah, it would be one I would eat.
Okay, that's cool. See, I don't know if I've ever had a McRib, but I don't know if I'm going to start now because there's been this crazy stuff online. I've been hearing this for like definitely over a year, where people saying the McRib is like not from like a rib meat sandwich, but it's from other pork cuts. This is really crazy, but people are like obsessed or, convinced that some of these fast food places are like using humans too. There's this thing called like solvent green. If anyone looks it up, I don't know. Of course, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but the book and the movie Solvent Green explains it all. But a lot of people think that our fast food is serving us other humans. But anyway, the McRib has been under a lot of just kind of speculation lately, and McDonald's has pushed back against claims in a class action lawsuit that the company misled customers by advertising the McRib. The McRib is a rib meat sandwich when its patty allegedly comes from other pork cuts. McDonald's says that the McRib is made of seasoned boneless pork, and like lawyers are getting to the nitty gritty of it, of like a McRib isn't actually part of the rib, and McDonald's was saying yes, but it's pork, and we're like advertising it as that. Some people are saying it has no pork whatsoever. This just seems like a nightmare to me. I mean, I feel like just the way with hot dogs is that when I get these burgers and everything, I kind of have a feeling that like I don't know exactly what I'm eating, and I'm okay with it. What about you?
I mean, to me, the McRib is a tastier portion or example of a hot dog, because everyone likes a hot dog every so often, but you really don't want to know what's in that hot dog.
Yeah, exactly.
So the McRib has a very, very unique taste to it. Okay, I mean, you can be blindfolded and you know you're in a McRib.
I feel like even though I've never had it, I can taste it. Also, just a brief history, they started selling it in 1981, but then pulled it from the menu in 1985 because of poor sales. And then it's made a return again in 1989, only to be brought back in 2020 with like another comeback recently, 2024. And people really do like it, but a lot of people are saying that you're like advertising it wrong. People think they're getting like whatever area of pork they're getting, and it's not really that. I just cannot believe there's a class action lawsuit. To me, I would be more upset about what's in it rather than just like what they're advertising, because I feel like McDonald's is not a brand that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're like always on the up and up. I just figure we eat it. I try not to ask questions. I enjoy it. Hopefully, in one way or another, it leaves my body and doesn't form into a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but this sounds like a lawsuit for the attorneys because realistically, even if it goes through and somehow or another it is granted, what are you going to get? Maybe 50 cents to a buck, if that.
Right.
And then is it going to be for everyone or is it going to be somewhere you have to prove that you bought one, which, okay, no one keeps their receipts from McDonald's. So
Exactly.
I think this is a lawsuit for the lawyers. I could be wrong, but I think that's what this is.
I do too. I do think, however, it's really important to if they're using a different part of a different animal, like I think it's really important to specify, like if people think they're eating beef and really they're eating chicken or horse or whatever is going on, just because I think religious reasons and like allergy reasons and stuff. I think it's important for businesses to be like real about the animal that they're using, but the actual part of it, like I don't know. This is what we get for eating like fast food.
Well, that's true. I mean, depending on if they are using a different type of meat, let's say hypothetically it's chicken, that actually wouldn't be a bad thing to admit.
Right, right. Yeah, but some people are like allergic to chicken, or they for whatever reason have chosen to not eat that. But ew, I don't know. The other day I was gonna go through McDonald's and then I really just thought, what if they are serving us human? And it really like stopped me from doing that.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be made with like a lot of people from the South. They eat, pig feet. They eat chili,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Wouldn't it be funny to find out that all these years that the McRib was pig feet? Wouldn't that be interesting?
At first, I thought you were saying, "Who knows? It could be made from a lot of people in the South." I'm like, I hope not. I would hope that if we are using humans, once again, I call for some diversity and inclusion for everyone, not just Southern. But yeah,
Does this make you want to try McRib since you've never had one?
no, no, I genuinely feel like I could taste what it's like, and I'm gonna pass on it.
Oh, Merle, give it a try.
Maybe to me, does it taste very barbecue-y? Because I'm not like barbecue sauce is not one of my favorite tastes.
One thing about it, the meat, it's hard to describe the meat because it's like nothing you've ever had before. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but you definitely will know it's different. And they do lather way too much sauce. So just make sure that you eat carefully or put some napkins or something down so you don't mess your clothes up.
See, once I like get too familiarized with a fast food taste, whether it's like the Wendy's nuggets or the McDonald's burgers, I need like one if I can taste it before it really like makes me think twice about ordering it.
I hear you. I hear you. So I shouldn't buy you a McRib and send it over to your house, huh?
You can DoorDash it to me, yeah.
What's interesting here? Hey, Beryl, do you remember the story about this bear living under someone's house?
Yeah.
Well, there's an interesting update to that story. A bear living under a home finally leaves for good.
Aww. Is it hibernation time, I wonder? Even though it's winter for us.
Nope, actually, it wasn't hibernation. So basically, a 550-pound black bear, nicknamed Yellow 2120, don't even know how they came up with that, but Yellow Bear 2120, living under a Southern California home for over a month, was finally removed by volunteers from the Bear League using paintball guns filled with vegetable oil to startle it out of the crawl space.
Aww.
An electrified mat installed to prevent its return after it caused significant damage to the home.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, but you really needed a volunteer group to come help you get that bear out.
No, couldn't you just like take some salmon and lure it or something, or like close off your area? I don't know.
I mean, I know some ways to get the bear out. I think I'd be protested by a bunch of animal groups if I said it. I can get that bear out. But
Yeah, I know. See, I would like it would be living in the house with us in like 3 days. I'd be feeding it McRibs. I feel like even a bear would be like, no, thank you to a McRib.
I think that once the bear, because you said bears got to go out to eat, I would think that once the bear goes out, you go ahead and put that electrified mat down.
Yeah.
But I heard one story that sometimes it was more than one bear living in the house that they thought.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so then how did they like leave their house and just walk around? Like if you're coming home at night and it's late, you just hope that it doesn't come out and get you.
I don't know. To me, I wouldn't feel very comfortable living in the house because you're right. What if you're either leaving or coming into your home, and all of a sudden you're face to face with this bear?
Yeah, I know. I'm not feeling it. I definitely think I'm glad they got it out safely, but I wonder now if it's just going to go to the next place or like it's probably become like accustomed now to not be afraid of houses. So I think they'll have to be careful of where it goes next.
I would think that they would have to tranquilize that bear, move it someplace because to me that bear is too comfortable coming into a house now.
Yeah, and they'll smell where it was and just like, oh, but I hope it doesn't have any cubs like under it or whatever. I'm sure that they would take them too, but
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just think that and part of the problem we don't talk about it enough is I get it. You got to build, you got to build houses, build this and that, but we're taking up a lot of territory where wildlife is their space is getting less and less and less, and that's how you have all these crossovers between humans and wildlife going on, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
oh yeah, I mean I see that all the time with coyotes. They've just become such a. I never thought I'd like have a life where coyotes are just so intertwined with it, or just so common, and it's very weird to see them. And then I'm always fine with like seeing one coyote, but if I'm out walking in the morning or at night, it's like you don't want to be alone and come into a pack of like 4 or 5 of them.
That's true. That is so true. And even though that sometimes they may look nice and cuddly, they still are wild animals.
I know, just like the bear. I really think with it would be 1 week of me feeding it, and then my Jack would come home, and there'd be like a bear watching TV with me.
Just love to know how the hell that bear was able to get in and out. Because if you've ever seen a picture, this is a gigantic bear.
Oh,
Going in and out of this small hole for a window. So it's like, how does he do that? Without getting stuck or damaging himself.
I wish that's where I wish we could just ration with animals and be like, hey, you could totally live here. Just promise me you're not going to hurt me or my family or anyone that comes visit. Like, and then they'd agree. Like, I wish there was that's what Elon Musk needs to invent is like, instead of a Cybertruck.
You're a much nicer person than me, Meryl.
Well, that's a perfect transition for my story because like a couple months ago it went viral on TikTok about like women saying whether or not they want to be alone in the woods with a bear or a man. And like everyone is always like, I'll take the bear, I'll take the bear. And so, you'll see videos of like men acting cray cray and women will comment under it and just write like bear, so that's what, if anyone is ever wondering. And this article has to do with why Gen Z and millennial men aren't approaching women anymore. So, this is definitely a thing I hear with some of my younger single friends. There was a study done saying of younger men saying that they have less interactions with women in real life. They feel like girls don't want to be approached at all. They talked to this one younger guy who kind of like talked on behalf of a lot of guys and just said, I feel like I'm bothering them. A lot of times it's just easier to make the first move on Bumble or Hinge or dating apps, but like, they'll almost pass up if they see like a beautiful, nice woman in person. A lot of these younger men don't say hello to women the way they used to before. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Cause like, I don't know, as a woman though, honestly, I feel like creepy men have ruined it for the nice ones in a lot of ways because like, I don't want to be approached by a man in public, not because I hate them, because I love men, but just because like a lot of times you're just trying to get coffee or like do whatever you're trying to do without having to strike up a weird conversation. But I feel like if I was single and wanting to talk to men, I would maybe be hoping it was happening more.
This documentary about overcoming life's darkest moments isn't on Netflix, and that's exactly why you need to watch it. Look, I've been through my share of tough times, and I'm tired of watching feel-good fluff that barely scratches the surface. My Silver Lining documentary on LROTVNetwork.com is different. It's raw, real, and completely transformative. This isn't some glossy production designed to make you feel better for 30 minutes. It digs deep into what it actually takes to turn your pain into purpose. The storytelling is so powerful that mainstream platforms wouldn't touch it. But that's their loss in your gain. You get exclusive access to stories that will genuinely shift your perspective on adversity. I watched it 3 times because each viewing revealed something new about resilience. The convenience of streaming it on LROTVNetwork.com means you can pause, rewind, and really absorb these life-changing insights. Don't settle for surface-level inspiration when you can access something that actually moves the needle. Head to LROTVNetwork.com right now and discover the documentary everyone's missing.
You know, this age-old thing about men approaching women has been going on since the day of time. I think it's gotten worse in the digital age because now you have young adults that love to play video games and they love to, get on different type of social apps or whatever. And you're finding that a lot more of these young adults are not having face-to-face communication with people. And
Yeah.
because a lot of them have that anxiety because approaching a woman isn't the easiest thing to do, especially for young adults that in their generation, they're not really taught to approach women, talk to them, know how to, hey, you be rejected, so be it, move on to the next one. They're not taught those things. So for them, rejection could be like devastating, like, oh my God, I'll never, and it shouldn't be that way. But I think that's a big problem with the times personally.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I think there needs to be more taught about like the time and place to approach a woman, because I think we all like take one situation and then wrap it up into mean everything. Like for example, I have friends that actively are hoping that at a bar or like a restaurant, when they're there to meet men, like that's when they hope they get approached. But on the flip side, when women are like at a gym, or especially if we're sitting alone in a park, like I could speak for most women, we don't want a man to come up to us when we're like nicely laying in the grass reading by ourselves, but if we're like at a singles event or at a bar, then that's like a yes, green light. So I think maybe as a society, we need to get better with helping each other understand like the more appropriate times to go up to each other. Because that's the thing, is like it's always the creepy men that will come up to you when you're like trying to sunbathe in a public place, just minding your own business. And then I think the normal younger men think that that's like, oh, women don't want to be heard from at all.
Well, the interesting thing is, I remember when I was single years and years ago, one of the things I noticed when I went out was you would have a nice woman, let's say at a club or at a party, whatever. And, you come up, introduce yourself, say, hey, can I buy you a drink? Or, can I talk to you? Or maybe can I dance or whatever? And, they kind of shoot you down, sometimes in a very cold way.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then you see this other guy walk behind you, which is kind of a little bit of a character. And, he comes with this weak, incredibly canned line, and they're like, and
Yeah.
one of the things that most women don't realize, the good guys pay attention. A lot of times we're watching you before we step up to you. So if you like a certain type of guy, that guy is really not the best guy, we're not even gonna waste our time walking over there. A lot of women don't understand.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the thing is that what you have to understand too is you attract what you're with. So if you like to go around all these goofy guys that want to be the Mr. Player and all this stuff like that, most good guys aren't going to even approach you. It's sad to say that most good guys will not even want to approach you.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's fair.
And I just don't understand. It's like you get with these guys that not all women. I don't want to say all women, but some women get with these guys. They know this guy's a wannabe player. This guy has multiple relationships, has kids that he don't take care of. And for whatever reason, you get with this person, think, well, he's not going to do that to me. I never, ever understood that to save the life of me.
Yeah. I don't understand that either. I don't understand either side, either men or women, like liking people that because they are a project or because they don't pay attention to them or because they're rude to them. Like it's very weird. I think everyone should work on themselves and like want something good before they even start looking for anything.
Yeah, and I think personally, and I've always believed this, is that if you're positive and you feel good about yourself, it radiates and you actually attract people coming to you.
Yeah.
When they see that you're a positive, and here's the other thing too, if you're a positive person, you're a very outgoing person, you're really taking care of your business, you're having fun, whatever, unfortunately, some people may be intimidated by that too. And you know what? If they are intimidated by that, that's their issue, not yours.
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny. I feel like the grocery store, I always get men saying random things to me. And like I was wearing a sweatshirt that said something on its sleeve, and I must have had three men like try to use that as like a conversation topic because they're like, "What's on your sleeve? I'm Paul. Nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, go away." But once again, if I was single, maybe I'd be excited, or like I'm just trying to pick up chicken. I'm not trying to like talk to men or whatever. So I think there's a time and a place for interactions, or maybe they're just being nice and trying to read my sleeve. But like sometimes I feel like men and women have annoyed each other so much now that we're at like a higher threshold of than we want to be, and now we have stuff like, I mean, this is ridiculous, but like human trafficking and like, I mean, I know that's been going on forever, but I think we're just made more aware of it, and women are more vigilant more, so that we're kind of like on guard a little bit more.
Yeah, and here's the reality too. If a guy meets a woman, you have a great conversation, whatever. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, here, here's my number. You call me. A lot of women may be more comfortable with that because they're not sharing their information with you, and if they're interested, they'll call you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I was just gonna say the last thing I was gonna say is like the way that men probably feel about seeing like a player guy go up to a woman and get her laughing and attention. We feel about like that men sometimes only approach who they deem to be like the absolute hottest, or it's like the really hot woman rollerblading by. Like that's who seems to get men's attention, where there's lots of other girls that are like still very good looking, but maybe not as much, where like I think we all need to give each other more of a chance in different ways and like not such a superficial way.
Oh yeah. And the one of the things too, and I know we've been on this subject for a little bit, but this is one of the things, and I think most women understand this now. All guys understand this. There are two different types of women to a guy. They're the women you take home to mom and the ones you don't take home to mom.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be the one that you take home to mom, because the ones that, I'm trying to be real subtle with this, but the ones that reveal a lot, act a certain way out in public, whatever, yes, they're going to get attention, but it may not be the attention that they want.
Right. And it might not be long term and everything. We need to do a whole episode just on dating. Because sometimes I think people should listen to their friends that have been in relationships forever and have nothing to lose. Because I feel like I always try to give my single friends advice, and they just are acting a fool.
Yeah, the sad part, Meryl, is that even though I've been married over 30 years now, and it's almost like the dating scene is pretty much just the same, but all the names just change, but it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Bit. And maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, definitely.
But then again, I could just be aging myself, so that's okay. Well, a not so good topic here. 16,000 nurses have went on strike in New York.
Wow.
Yeah. So yes, around 16,000 nurses at major New York City private hospitals, including Mount Sinai and Mount Fiore, began striking on Monday, January 12, 2026, after contract talks stalled, making it the largest nursing strike in New York City history, focusing on staffing, pay, and patient safety. While some safety net hospitals reached deals, nurses at the larger systems are walking out for better conditions, with negotiations continuing for some hospitals as the strike unfolds.
Ooh, well, that's what we don't want. Is we need nurses, especially in New York.
You know, the sad part, Meryl, is I don't remember what episode it was on, but we were talking about how, the administration um, deemed nursing as a real profession. And
Yeah,
I'm sitting
yeah.
there looking like this is like right in the face of what we were talking about. And I don't understand why people don't think nurses are important. Nurses do the things that doctors don't do.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly. We were saying that too, and how they a lot of times are able to spend the time and the attention and care that
Mhm.
doctors for whatever reason can't. So, I mean, good. And to me, if any industry is going to strike and we're going to hopefully listen to them and meet their needs, it would be, the healthcare one. But oh, it's so tough.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have to work this out, obviously, because we can't
Yeah.
go out without nursing. But I would think that, between how the administration wants to reclassify nurses and this big strike, I think it's going to have long-term effects where some people may go, I wanted to be a nurse, but I don't think it's worth getting into that field.
I know. I even think they recruit extra hard for nurses because I do feel like that's one of the jobs that have fallen off since COVID for sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the thing is that I think nurses really get the raw end of the stick because they put in just as much time, just as much work, or even more as the doctors do. Because let's face it, when you have a doctor's visit, the majority of the time you're talking to the nurse or the aide,
Yeah.
and the doctor's in there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. There's a doctor that I go to where they use interns from local college. They don't even have nurses. They just have nursing interns. And the last time, yeah. And it's so crazy because I was telling the girl that the last time I had a student who put the blood pressure taker thing upside down on me and my arm was getting cut off and I had to tell her, and I'm like, is it literally your first hour being a nurse? Because this is cutting off my circulation and someone else had to come in and help her and help me. And I was telling the girl about what happened and she said, oh my God, I'm a student too.
Oh my God.
I think they just outsource nurses from the Burbank Community College or whatever. But I'm like, where are the actual nurses overseeing you? So I'm wondering now if they're cutting corners just in every way possible. And this is a legit physician's office. And I had someone that wrapped my arm with the blood pressure thing who did not, it seemed like her first time, it seemed like she never even practiced it. It was upside down and my arm was turning purple.
Yeah, but the thing is, Merle, I think they should tell you that up front and not wait
Right.
until you find out. Because even in emergency rooms now, the majority of the time when you go in there, there's a nurse's practitioner that sees you. It's
Yeah.
not, and I know my doctor, told me, said, if you ever go into the emergency room, request that a doctor sees you. They can't,
Yeah.
they cannot say no. Because my philosophy is, well, if you're going to
No.
have a nurse practitioner, are you going to give me a break on the building?
Exactly. That would be a good service for retired doctors who still want to work a little bit to almost be a mentor and almost shadow the nurse and be actually, don't forget to ask him this, or the same way that
Mm-hmm.
beauty school people have someone that's more advanced standing next to them and watching. I think that would be good for yeah, because you shouldn't have them all by themselves, and I feel like they need to be learning too.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I tell you about the blood pressure thing. You are a saint because I'll be like, you know what? I need a doctor, and not you guys. No offense,
Yeah,
but no.
that's true. I know. I did tell them I would be a good tester for nurses because I'm just yeah, whatever, who cares? And I'm I think I was I didn't want to make her feel bad, but I was I think this is on upside down, and she was embarrassed, but I'm wait, her and I were the only people in the room. It was crazy.
Wow, that is funny but scary at the same time.
Yeah, it wasn't even oh, I'm a senior. I graduate next May. It seemed like it was her. It was 10 a.m. and I think she started her career at 9:15 a.m. or something.
Wow, that's another one
Stupid.
I would love to hear from our followers and people who watch us. I would love to know if you had an intern come in or a student come in, would you be okay with that person administering care to you, or would you
Right.
be a little angry or offended by that? I would definitely, if go to any of our social media pages, we would love to know the answer to that.
And I want to hear, at what point of your blood pressure machine being cutting off your arm would you say something? Because I think there's some people that are such people pleasers that they wouldn't say anything and they would just let their whole arm, become like black in pain. But mine was like, I gave it about like maybe like 20 good seconds, and then I said something.
Yeah, like I said, you're a saint. I have to give it to you.
But it was so funny because I was talking shit about that old student to the woman, and I'm like, oh my god, thank God, because I had the student that didn't know what she was doing, and then the person was like, I'm a student too. I'm like, oh my god. Well, someone that may or may not know what they're doing. Reality TV star Spencer Pratt announces a run for LA mayor. Now, I find this very interesting, obviously, because I currently live in Los Angeles. We know that Spencer and his wife, Heidi Montag, lost their home in the Palisades fire. Spencer's been very big on his TikTok and just his social media about uncovering some of the, which I do believe to be true, some of kind of the, not foul play, but just some of the wrongs that the city of LA did when addressing the fire and evacuating, making sure they had proper, the equipment was running, and that there was supposedly water that, emergency water banks that were not tended to correctly. He also looked into a lot of kind of the insurance fraud. And so it's funny because I have friends that are kind of split on this. Some people are like, there's no way I'd vote for that clown. And then other people are like, you know what? I'd give him a shot. The actual politicians don't seem to be doing a lot. So I don't know. I'm interested in hearing. Right now it's Karen Bass, who doesn't have the best reputation. And I don't know. So I was going to ask you, would you vote for him for your city or not really?
For my city, no. And here's the reason why. Now, we've known that there have been very unqualified people being elected to office. If you open your eyes, we can all see that there's a big unqualified person out there running.
Yep.
But I would say because of Chicago has had a big issue with crime and with budgets for years.
Yeah.
And we've had several mayors come in that really have the best intentions to try and fix these items, and they still struggle with it. So
yeah,
for him, I would say no for our city. But would I rule out any particular reality star? Depending on their background, no, I wouldn't. Because obviously what we're doing now is not working. So we have to be able to look at something. As long as they're not convicted of a convicted felon, that's all.
Exactly. I think Spencer has the original idea of when, and this is not the same now, but originally way back in the day when Trump was announcing his stuff, there was a little glimmer inside of me that was like, oh, this guy, of course, I knew he was sleazy, but I thought he's going to take down all the bad politicians, or, he's going to I thought, okay, he's different. I think that's what a lot of his base still thinks, is that he's taking out, the whole draining the swamp type of thing. And I feel like there's something to be said about Spencer that maybe people feel this way, that it's okay, it's something new and different, and it's someone that's not so corrupt, but we also don't know if he's corrupt or not. Or we don't know if he's suited to actually run a city, because it's one thing to I think he's done a very good job of at least publicizing flaws about the fire, and maybe he should be put on some task force or something that's fire related. But how is he going to handle homelessness, crime, there's a lot of other cities, along with the actual budget and everything. But I'm willing to learn and to give people an open platform and just hear what makes them efficient.
I agree. I mean, I think a great sector of people that should really think about running for public office is prior military people. that have had command. Maybe they were a captain, maybe they were a colonel, a general, or something, that has had people report to them, had areas that they were responsible for, had budgets that they had to manage. And then plus with that discipline, maybe that's something new that would really help that position. And again, I'm just thinking outside the box here.
You're so right, because we know that they have discipline. We know that they have, like, a lot of times they have connections. They may know things that regular civilians may not know, or they definitely do. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just crazy the stuff that's going on now. And like I said, with everything going on, I do believe that most politicians, um, they used to really care, but a lot of it now to me is more of a power grab. And I think
Yeah.
you see it across the board. And it's kind of sad because we as citizens, as taxpayers, we're the one that's footing the bill for this stuff.
Yep.
For my last topic, and this is actually a pretty good one, especially in this day and age, now that we're off to a new year,
Woohoo.
we're going to talk about new techniques to find a job.
Yay.
So, based on my research here, okay, new job search techniques focus on strategic networking, digital presence, optimization, especially on LinkedIn, and proactive, personalized outreach beyond online applications, leveraging AI, hidden job markets, and tailoring experiences to specific company cultures to bypass traditional barriers and find unadvertised roles. This reminds me of the way people normally look for jobs prior to this new day and age.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they're repackaging it, but literally these are things that you would have to do back in the day. I'm probably dating myself. And basically it's relationships. It's being able to sell yourself.
Right. And not just like spraying out an application on a million different like Indeed sites, or having everything so like digitized. Like it's actually getting back to the, just about being with the actual people.
Mm-hmm. And some of the problems too, you can't overcome. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you would fix this problem, but there's a lot of places that advertise what I call bullshit jobs. In other words, they put jobs out there that they have no intention of hiring people for. Either A, they already know they're hiring someone inside, but they have to make it look like they're looking for someone else. Or situations where they want to put it out there to kind of let the team know, hey, we'll bring on new people if needed. To me, those are games. And also, too, you got people wasting their times, and I say wasting their times, applying to a job that they'll never get.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like I've heard stories too about fake jobs. I mean, we've talked about that before, about companies listing jobs that they know aren't for sale or for hire. And like I can't believe the process of how long it takes people to get a job, where I'm hearing it'll be like weeks in between interviews, and then they'll be like, great, we'll be in touch. And then it's 2 months later and they're like, I've had to find a whole other job.
Oh, exactly. And the thing is, what I don't understand is, why does companies think that most people are going to sit around and wait 2-3 months for your job? I mean, to me, I'd be a little nervous, because it's like you can't make up your mind. It doesn't really take that long to figure out whether or not you hire a person.
Exactly. And then also, if you know that you're interviewing and you don't hear back for 2 weeks, like that, it's kind of just like dating, where it's like, well, have they found someone else, or like, should I go get a different job? And then of course, the minute that you get something else is when they come back. So that's just a lot when people are needing something, right away.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've heard of situations, Merle, where literally a person goes on like 5 to 6 interviews with one company.
Oh my gosh.
And, I've had situations in the past where, my initial conversations with the HR person. So I'll ask a question about sales related question, because it's a sales related job. Well, I don't know the answer to that. Well, I don't know the answer to that. And, you have to be nice, but you think to yourself, why the F am I talking to you?
Yeah.
How
Exactly.
are you going to feather out whether this is a good fit or not when you don't even know the job?
Yeah, and it's like hire me and I'll explain it to you for triple the price and everything. Yeah, and like I won't work or I won't do a job where they have me do a lot of like unpaid work in the beginning, where it's like, say you're doing this, give us 3 different test cases of this and this, and I'm like, no, like I think it should either be paid or just like get to know me as an employee first, and then then we'll see.
Oh yeah, I've seen situations. I mean, luckily I've never experienced it, but I've heard of situations where some jobs will be like, "Hey, why don't you come, work for us for a day, see how everything works out." And I'm
Oh,
like,
are you
"Why would
kidding?
I come work for you for free?" I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, well, we'll see how it works out, and if it works out well, we'll talk about the position. Otherwise, we'll probably have to move on to the next person.
No.
Like, no, it sounds like you're trying to get a free labor for a day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Have you ever run across that mural where someone's like, "Hey, let's have you work for one day to see how it works out"?
No, I didn't. That'd be so crazy. No, I didn't have that. I just have had potential jobs take like really, really long times and, a long time. And I didn't know if they were still interested or not. And then by that time, I was like, why am I even applying for this job? I'm not interested. So I can see how usually people apply to jobs because they are needing something somewhat urgently, or you know what I mean. And so I
Mhm.
think they need to speed things around. I had one, like I'm not in the position where I'm looking for a job, but a few weeks ago I talked with someone who was a really interesting person, um, and he had like a job description up, and then when I talked to him, it just seemed like he was doing it for like kicks and giggles, like just basically talking to people. He's like, yeah, really
Wow.
interesting. I wanted to see what was out there. And instead, like, I'm glad I wasn't like hungry for this job. This is just I had like an informational interview, but like that's tough too, because now you're advertising a job and you just kind of want to like yip yap with people. It's not that nice.
No, that's not nice at all. And you're wasting people's time. And, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I know there's been a big push that people says, well, if you're going to have more than one interview, you should pay applicants for their time. And you know what? To me, that's not such a bad idea because there's been a lot of
Right.
companies waste people's times.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny too because I could see that person was like peeking at my LinkedIn like the day after and the day after again, and I'm like, "What do you want from me? I just told you everything."
Companies don't know that you can tell who goes on your LinkedIn. I don't know if they
I know,
realize
it's so funny. And LinkedIn is the most boring of all the ones to stalk. I don't know why anyone would be peeking at my LinkedIn.
that is so true. That is so true. Well, some of the things here that they have here is leveraging your network um, in integrity. So basically, go beyond applications, reach out to friends, former colleagues, and contacts for coffee chats, maybe an ask for advice, not just jobs, but uncovering hidden opportunities. Engage online. Daily LinkedIn activity keeps you visible. Connect with niche professionals and thought leaders to
Mhm.
to learn about non-traditional roles. Um, I will say the only dangerous thing about online is when you're on LinkedIn, and let's say you want a new job and you want to update your LinkedIn file, just be careful because your current employer may be watching your LinkedIn file too.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you all of a sudden put up there, I'm open to hire, and then it wasn't there at first, you may draw some some
They're like, "Oh, you
conversation
are?
at your job.
I didn't know that exactly. Like I didn't know this."
And then the last one here is build relationships. Maintain regular contact with recruiters, sharing updates on your skills and progress. So these are things that are actually new.
Yeah. I think we need to have a revamping of both the like people applying and the employers too, because it seems to be getting out of control.
It really is. I totally agree with you on that. Wow, what a conversations we
I
had today,
know.
huh?
We are opinionated people.
Yes, we are. In a good way, though. In a good way.
Exactly.
Well, Meryl, tell us, what do you have coming up?
Well, I am promoting hard the Disney villains show at the it's called the Horror Nerd at the Hollywood Improv on Friday. So I'm very excited about that. So if people have a favorite Disney villain, let me know and I'll be happy to work it into my routine for you.
That is nice. I would hope people do get on our social media because I will share that with you if they do.
Oh, yay. Please do. I think I already have Hook and Ursula from Little Mermaid, and I need to think of a few others.
Nice, nice. Well, everyone, if you got some ideas, definitely let us know because Merle would definitely love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we had such a great time. We appreciate you watching us, listening to us, and also ushering in a new year with us. I'm Lawrence Elrod.
I'm Meryl Climo.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
This documentary about overcoming life's darkest moments isn't on Netflix, and that's exactly why you need to watch it. Look, I've been through my share of tough times, and I'm tired of watching feel-good fluff that barely scratches the surface. My Silver Lining documentary on elrodthenetwork.com is different. It's raw, real, and completely transformative. This isn't some glossy production designed to make you feel better for 30 minutes. It digs deep into what it actually takes to turn your pain into purpose. The storytelling is so powerful that mainstream platforms wouldn't touch it. But that's their loss and your gain. You get exclusive access to stories that will genuinely shift your perspective on adversity. I watched it 3 times because each viewing revealed something new about resilience. The convenience of streaming it on elrodthenetwork.com means you can pause, rewind, and really absorb these life-changing insights. Don't settle for surface-level inspiration when you can access something that actually moves the needle. Head to elrodthenetwork.com right now and discover the documentary everyone's missing.